Hello, my friend. Let me ask you something before we begin. What happens when you take the biggest tournament on Earth and make it bigger than it has ever been?
Not slightly bigger, almost twice as big. More teams than ever competing, more nations than ever dreaming, more matches than any single tournament has held in its history. Some said it would lose its magic. Instead, it produced one of the wildest, most dramatic, and most argued about World Cups anyone has ever seen.
This is the story of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Welcome to Legendary Narratives. Tell us in the comment section your thoughts about this World Cup. Like the video and subscribe to support us.
48 teams, 12 groups, 104 matches, played across 3 countries at once, the United States, Mexico, and Canada, for the first time in history. Nations that had never touched a World Cup pitch before walked out under the lights for the very first time. Records fell before the group stage had even ended, and by the final whistle, one team would become just the third nation in the modern era to hold a World Cup and a European title at the same moment. But every giant tournament starts with a single kickoff. On the 11th of June 2026, Mexico opened the tournament at the Estadio Azteca, 16 years after they had opened the very same stadium for the 2010 World Cup. A quiet piece of symmetry, one nation returning to the same doorway it had walked through a generation earlier. From there, the tournament did what tournaments always promise to do and rarely deliver so completely. It surprised everyone. Cape Verde, a small island nation off the coast of West Africa, arrived at a World Cup for the first time in its history. In their group, they faced Spain, the reigning European champions, and held them to a scoreless draw. It was the only blemish on Spain's entire group stage. A nation of fewer than 500,000 people had matched the eventual champions of the world point for 90 minutes. They weren't alone. Haiti and Curacao arrived as first-time participants too, small flags raised in stadiums that had never seen them before. This was the promise of the new, expanded format finally paying off. More doors opened, more stories nobody had gotten to tell yet. England had their own scare, held scoreless by Ghana. Even the giants were made to sweat. The knockout stage, expanded for the first time to include 32 teams instead of 16, only raised the stakes further. And this is where Argentina, the defending champions, produced the single most argued about match of the entire tournament. On the 7th of July in Atlanta, Argentina faced Egypt in the round of 32. For most of the night, Egypt was the better team. They led 2-0 with just 11 minutes remaining, 1 goal from a place in the quarter-finals, the biggest shock of the tournament within reach. Then, in the 62nd minute earlier in the match, a second Egyptian goal from Mostafa Zico had already been ruled out by VAR for a foul in the build-up. With Egypt still leading and the clock running down, their appeals for a penalty after a challenge on midfielder Hamdi Fathi were waved away. Moments later, Argentina scored the winner deep into stoppage time, completing a stunning 3-2 comeback. Egypt's players and coaching staff were furious. Their federation filed an official complaint with FIFA, describing what it called the improper use of VAR, and head coach Hossam Hassan suggested publicly that there may have been pressure on the officials to keep Argentina and Messi in the tournament. Former players and pundits on English broadcasts openly questioned the consistency of the decisions, pointing out that a foul either counts or it doesn't, and that the standard didn't seem to have been applied evenly to both sides. FIFA pushed back firmly. Its head of referees, Pierluigi Collina, stated that the disallowed Egyptian goal had been correctly overturned, since VAR had identified a genuine foul in the build-up, regardless of whether it looked obvious in real time. He also defended the decision not to award Egypt a late penalty, ruling the contact in question to be normal footballing contact rather than a foul. In the days that followed, the controversy spread far beyond football analysis into a wave of conspiracy claims online, including doctored screenshots and edited Wikipedia pages aimed at the match referee, most of which were later debunked by fact-checkers as false or manufactured. What's fair to say is this: the officiating decisions were genuinely debatable, experts were split, and Egypt's sense of injustice was real and understandable. What isn't supported by any actual evidence is the idea that the result was arranged in advance. Argentina, for its part, simply kept winning, and had to survive several more nervous nights to do it. Days later, Argentina needed extra time again, this time to get past a short-handed Switzerland side. Every match felt like it was one mistake away from ending Lionel Messi's pursuit of a second World Cup title at 39 years old, in what he had already said would be his final one. And every time, Argentina found a way through. England had their own rollercoaster. Down at halftime against Norway in the quarter-final, Jude Bellingham produced a brace to drag his team through 2-1 in a match remembered as much for a bizarre refereeing incident, nicknamed online as the Cable of God, as for the football itself. While Spain and Argentina were still alive, four of football's biggest names were already gone. Brazil, five-time champions, arrived under Carlo Ancelotti chasing a sixth star. They fell in the round of 16 to Norway 2-1 at New York, New Jersey Stadium. Erling Haaland scored twice, either side of a late Neymar penalty, sending Brazil out at their earliest stage since 1990. Germany, four-time champions, were the first giant to go, eliminated in the round of 32 by Paraguay, ranked 34th in the world. A 1-1 draw through extra time led to penalties, and Germany missed three: Havertz, Woltemade and Tuh. The first shootout they'd ever lost at a World Cup. Portugal's exit closed an era. Cristiano Ronaldo, 41 and playing what he'd already called his final World Cup, went out 1-0 to Spain in the round of 16, Mikel Merino scoring the only goal deep into stoppage time. And the Netherlands fell to Morocco on penalties. Cody Gakpo's 72nd minute lead undone by a 91st minute equaliser, before Morocco won it from the spot. Four giants, none of them blown out. Two lost by a single goal, two lost on penalties, football's cruelest lottery. Being a giant doesn't widen your margin for error. It just means the whole world is watching the second it runs out. By the semi-finals, something remarkable had happened. For the first time in World Cup history, the four semi-finalists were exactly the top four ranked teams in the world: France, Spain, England, Argentina. No surprise Minnow had snuck through. The Giants had simply proven, match after match, that they belonged there. On the 14th of July in Arlington, Texas, Spain faced France, a rematch of the Euro 2024 final 2 years earlier, the same final where a teenage Lamine Yamal had first announced himself to the world. This time, Spain did it again, winning 2-0, with a goal from Pedro Porro among the strikes that sent them through. France, ranked the best team in the world coming into the tournament, was going home. A day later, in Atlanta, Argentina faced England in what may have been the match of the tournament. England had taken an early lead and held it deep into the game. Then, in the final minutes, Argentina found something it had found all tournament long when it mattered most. Two late goals turned the match on its head, and Argentina won 2-1, reaching a World Cup final. Before the final itself, there was still business to settle. On the 18th of July, France and England met for third place in Miami Gardens and produced an almost absurd end-to-end spectacle, England winning 6-4. In the chaos of that match, Kylian Mbappé scored twice, pushing his career World Cup tally to 22 goals, the most in the tournament's history, and sealing what would become his second Golden Boot as the tournament's top scorer with 10 goals. Then came the final, the 19th of July, 2026, New York, New Jersey Stadium, East Rutherford, Spain against Argentina. The team that had conceded only one goal all tournament against the defending champions chasing history, against a man playing what he himself had called his last World Cup. For 90 minutes, neither side could find the breakthrough. Argentina, so often thrilling and reckless throughout the tournament, could not muster a single shot on target the entire match. Spain dominated territory and possession, but found Emiliano Martinez, Argentina's goalkeeper, standing in the way again and again, at one point denying Lamine Yamal himself from a dangerous free kick. Deep into second-half stoppage time, Argentina's night got harder still. Enzo Fernandez was sent off for a second bookable offence, leaving his team to play the entirety of extra time a man down. Spain still had to find the goal, and for a long stretch of extra time it wouldn't come. Then, 37 seconds into the second period of extra time, substitute Ferran Torres found the ball and rifled it home. The 106th minute, the only goal anyone would score all night. Spain had won the World Cup for the second time in its history, 16 years after their first, in South Africa in 2010. They had done it without losing a single match in regular time all tournament, conceding just once across 8 games, a defensive record that will be talked about for years. And in doing so, they added the World Cup to a European Championship they already held, becoming for a moment undeniably the best footballing nation on the planet, reigning champions of the men's game, the women's game, and Olympic football all at once. For Lionel Messi, it ended in silence. His 3rd World Cup final appearance, matching a mark held only by Brazil's Cafu before him. 8 goals in the tournament, a place on the Golden Ball podium as the silver medalist behind the true winner, but no second trophy to lift. What he himself had suggested would be his final World Cup ended 1 goal short, on the losing side of extra time. The individual honours told their own story of the tournament. Kylian Mbappé took home the Golden Boot for the 2nd time in his career, with 10 goals and 4 assists. But the Golden Ball, awarded to the tournament's best overall player, did not go to Mbappé, and did not go to Messi either. It went to Spain's Rodri, a player who scored no goals and recorded no assists in 8 matches, but whose control of the game, whose ability to dictate tempo and shut down opponents from deep, was judged more valuable than anything measured on a scoresheet. His teammate, Unai Simon, took the Golden Glove, having conceded only a single goal in the entire tournament. And at just 19 years old, Spain's Pau Cubarsí was named Young Player of the Tournament, becoming one of the youngest players in World Cup history to start a final at centre-back. Off the pitch, this tournament made a history too. The very first World Cup final halftime show, with a message read out from Coldplay's Chris Martin, thanking the crowd for being part of it. A closing ceremony built around some of the biggest names in music. A tournament staged not in 1 country, but 3, stretching from Mexico City to Toronto to New York. A genuine shared celebration across a continent.
Here is what stays with me about this tournament, my friend. Bigger did not mean weaker. More teams did not mean less magic. If anything, expanding the door let in the stories that make football worth watching in the first place.
A tiny island nation holding the eventual champions scoreless, first-time qualifiers walking out under lights they had only ever seen on television, an aging legend chasing one more chapter, and a defensive midfielder proving that greatness on a football pitch isn't always written in goals. It also let in something harder to watch, a genuine, painful controversy, a team that believed it had been wronged, and a debate that will likely never be fully settled either way. Maybe there's a lesson in that too. The biggest stages don't just produce heroes, they produce real, unresolved arguments. Moments where 2 things can be true at once, a decision that was technically defensible, and a team that still walked away feeling cheated. Football, like most things worth caring about, rarely hands you a clean story. Thank you for spending this time with me tonight.
Which moment stayed with you the most? Cape Verde's draw or the controversy? The wild final or Ferran's winner? Tell me in the comments below. Until next time, take care.